Okay, so we're starting now. So this will be really number 9 for term 3. One of the questions I could ask you is, and the idea is that don't answer the question. That's the way to do it, is to listen to the question but don't answer it, just to wait. So if I ask you, what are you looking for? So the question is, what are you looking for? You can ask yourself that every day if you want to. It's fine. It's a very good question. But don't let the mind answer. So you have to wait until you get a response. So it's not a reaction from the mind. You don't want to answer the question. You just want to wait. If nothing comes, then you don't answer the question. Yeah. So the mind is always thinking, constant chatter, it doesn't stop. So the next level for mindfulness is to learn to be quiet. Now, I'm going to try to talk about it in a different way. So there is a question that students ask, which is I did ask when I was young as well. And this is the idea that you would say to your teacher, or people will say to you, it's very important for you to sit for maybe 10, 20 minutes quietly to watch your thoughts. Yeah, I say that quite a lot in class, which is quite important to just spend 20 minutes quietly just watching your thought. So now I'm going to ask you, is that important, yes or no? You can just go like this, thumb up or thumb down. Okay. So for me...
Sorry, what is the question, Bruno? Sorry, is it important to watch our thoughts for 20 minutes? Is that the question?
Is it important to sit quietly, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, to watch your thoughts? To be quiet and just 20 minutes sitting down. You can do it once a week, once a day. Is it important to do that? So of course, if you ask me that, up to now, I always say yes, of course. But for us to be able to take the mindfulness to another level, you need to be prepared now for, contradiction. You get confused, that's fine. But you need to remain open. So if you ask the question, is it important to spend 20 minutes quietly every day watching my thoughts, watching things around you? I would say no. So of course, like everything, is yes and no. So we need to look at why no, or what do I mean by no? Really, I don't mean no. What I really want to ask you is, what is the motive? Why do you want to sit quietly to watch your thoughts? Is to really go deep down now, and just to go deeper and ask yourself, what is the motive of sitting down? So why you want to do it? So if you say, of course, oh, because of this or because of that, it means that you're trying to get somewhere, yes? Or a young person, yes, I want to reach some kind of enlightenment, or there is a goal there. So as long as there is a goal there and some kind of reward, you're looking for some kind of reward, then you're not going to understand what sitting quietly really means. So if you look at the question to sit 20 minutes quietly, the first thing is to sit. So why are you going to sit? Because your teacher told you? Because you saw it, on a video? I'm telling you to do that, sit down quietly. No, you need to find out and really investigate deeply. So sitting down, it can be standing up, right? As you know, you can be standing up quietly in the John John. You can be lying down. You can be walking. So it doesn't mean you have to be sitting down. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes is good. Why? Because I told you? So, you may think, well, no, research says that if you sit down for 20 minutes, you get this or this happens. Or I will say to you, forget about research. You don't go by anything that anybody tells you. And don't listen to me from now on. So in a way, you really have to investigate everything. Don't actually take it as, okay, this is a method, this is a technique, I'm going to do it. Why 20 minutes? It could be 10 minutes, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 1 hour. But if you think about science, real science, a real scientist is really a person that is very open and is not interested in any kind of research from the past. It's only his experience. He's got to do the research and see if it works. Just like me, people told me to stand like this. Okay, I do it. But then, after I think it was like 3 years, I started to question that. Well, I don't really, how do we really know this is really good? I mean, what's the point? What am I looking for? Why am I doing it? We don't go really deep and find out what is the real motive. So the duration is not important. Maybe sitting down or standing is not important. If you do it every day, every week, once a month, it just doesn't matter. You just need to challenge everything now and just be aware of your practice and your habits. And what are you doing? There was something that came out, I think it was probably back even in the 50s. It was in the 50s, I think, or in the 60s. Transcendental meditation. Have you heard of that? So transcendental meditation was, it started to become a little bit popular then, and a lot of the really good teachers in mindfulness and meditation, they were totally against transcendental meditation. Against, I mean, they if you ask me, I'm interested in transcendental meditation. I think I'm going to do it. Of course, I'll say it's your own path. Just go and have a look and try it. But there's a reason why I would say no as well. Because some of these groups, for example, like transcendental meditation, even going back then in the 60s, and Krishnamurti, I think, was one that didn't like it. And people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars to join transcendental meditation. And in exchange, you just get someone giving you a little lecture, and you get this special mantra, some Sanskrit word where you have to repeat and do this and do that, and you'll find going into a different state. But to charge all their money and to put these kind of methods is wrong in a way. So I can see why they disagreed. A lot of the teachers disagreed, and Krishnamurti didn't like it. Because people don't challenge it. They just follow. You just go through this mantra or a word, you don't know what it means, and you're repeating it, and So I won't say it doesn't work. Yes, it works, but it would only work up to a point. So you do something and you receive something in return. You pay the money, they give you this mantra or whatever, and then you do this. And you might reach some kind of super consciousness or some little state. So you don't need to pay that much, amount of money to reach another level. So why are we really wanting to sit down quietly? Just like I'm sitting down now. Yeah, you can just sit down quietly. Are you sitting down for a reason? Because if I don't, for example, give you more stimulation, then you will not come back next Friday, for example. Yeah? If I was another teacher, or you get these teachers that have lectures or talks, and you listen to one or two, and then you think, "Oh, that's very interesting. I can write down these techniques and these methods. Or give me another technique to get out of my head, and give me another one." So that's fine. But if the speaker stops giving you techniques, then you stop coming. You go somewhere else, because the mind just wants techniques. Because we're looking for spiritual progress. But if you think of the words looking for the spiritual progress, looking really means the ego is looking. So you never know what you're going to do. You might give up something because the ego will probably be dissatisfied at some point. So we're looking for some kind of temporary satisfaction when we are in our heads. And if you can give me something to take me to another level, then I'm going to be excited. And you give me something else, and that's okay. Of course, this is how we grow. But just be aware: is your mind looking for spiritual progress? Your mind will never get it. It will just keep on looking, but the mind will never know what spiritual progress is, because you have to do it without the mind. And looking for spiritual, what does it mean, spiritual? For the mind, it means you're looking for some kind of higher state or higher meaning. So again, you're looking for something else. So that's a mistake. And when we say looking for spiritual progress, progress really means what? It means you want to improve something. So those three ideas of the mind looking for some kind of higher meaning, higher spiritual improvement is only going to lead to trouble in a sense, because you just keep on in the mind circle. So I'm just saying, getting off that cycle and just sit quietly for no purpose. So is it possible to sit quietly and not expect anything from a speaker or from anybody else, and you're just sitting quietly? If we got together every Friday and we just sat like this for half an hour and I don't talk, so you don't talk, I don't talk, and we just sit quietly, it would be very hard for probably 90% of the students, because they're always looking for something. So to really sit quietly has a different meaning. If you say, yes, it's important to sit 20 minutes and to be quiet and just watch my thoughts, my breathing. And then after 20 minutes, you're going to do what? You're going to stop watching and go back to being distracted and unconscious. So of course, if you just sit quietly and you just become aware of your own mind, so you're not waiting for me or looking at me and expecting me to say something. You need to be aware of your own thinking right now. So of course, when I'm talking, you will not be thinking, but when I stop talking, what is happening to you when I stop talking? Is your mind going somewhere? So the real meaning of being quiet is when you're just looking at your own mind. Yes, we talked about that before in a way. You're just observing to see what's happening right now with your awareness, but really you're not even doing that. You could look at it that way. I'm sitting down, I'm going to watch the gate where my thoughts come from. Or I could ask myself, what is Bruno going to think about next? So that's okay, that's good as well. What is my next thought? That's fine. But can you do it as well without saying anything, without asking those things, and just be quiet? So is sitting quietly to observe your thoughts of any value? As soon as we put the word value, you know already it's mind. Is sitting down quietly, observing your thoughts of any value? No, not really. If you're going to do it with your mind, that's not the way you want to approach it. So you would say sitting down quietly, observing your thoughts, has no value. And do it anyway, right? You just do it. There is no value, nothing to get out of it. It's just sitting quietly. So if you're interested in something, like maybe you're looking at a tree, you go into the park and you look at a tree, you observe something. So when you observe something, that really means you are listening. So that's another word for being quiet. Yeah, you're just observing. So you look at the tree, and it's just pure quiet, observing. You're being attentive, you're looking at it. So you can't be bored at that moment. At the moment that you look at the sunrise or the tree or the dog, you're not actually bored, because when you're in the present moment, you're never bored. The present moment is nothing to do with boredom. It's just being present. Boredom comes in when your mind comes in. So if I carried on like this very quietly and don't talk much and kept on going for another half an hour, if you're getting bored or you're falling asleep, then it's because your mind is totally here and your nervous system is a little bit weak. But as you strengthen the nervous system through mindfulness, you will be able to just be sitting down, paying attention to what I'm saying and not falling asleep, not caring if I said anything or not. because you will be quiet. It's not a state where you're looking for answers as well. You're not trying to figure out anything. You're just in the present moment, quiet. Another word they use is a calm heart. Yeah, you just calm. All right. Any questions that comes up? I'm just going to drink. Gives me a chance to drink. So just anything is fine. You can. I want to give more time for you guys to explore this idea of just being quiet and sitting. So if you want to say anything, just turn on your mic. Yeah. If you have a pen, I'm going to ask you another question. You can write it down. So the question is, are you wasting time? So again, don't answer the question. You don't have to ask me to explain. Just answer the way you want to. Give it a couple of days if you want to. But the question is, are you wasting time? The next question. Do you waste time? When do you waste time? It can be a bit of the same, just to give you different ideas of looking at the same question. Is when do you waste time? The next one is, what are the moments when you are not wasting time? One teacher answered once, and he said, when you're doing something, you're wasting time. When you're not doing anything, you're not wasting time. So in a way, it makes sense if you think about it. It depends on how you look at it. But if you're sitting in a queue, yes, or you're sitting in the traffic, are you wasting time? So those kind of things you have to become aware that time has got to do with the mind, yes? And if you spend a lot of time in the mind, then you'll notice that you may be wasting a lot of time and you're quite stressed and you're trying not to waste any time. When we finish here, for example, and you turn off the computer, you could just use as an example because ideas like this is what are you going to do next? Are you going to do something productive? You're going to do something really important? How do you see your activities. That you see some as wasting time, like maybe doing the dishes, and then some other things are not wasting time. So it's funny because your mind is so quick and it comes in straight away and it doesn't give you much time to just sit back and just be quiet for no reason. So it would be important, I guess, to say that mindfulness has to be an exercise you do, but there is no reason for it. Yeah, there's no result, as we said. In archery, it was the same. If I'm going to go and shoot arrows at One Tree Hill, I can't be thinking about the reason why I'm shooting. It's okay, I'm aiming at the target, but when I'm actually shooting the arrows, after many, many years, you become aware that it's just to become one with the bow and the arrow. You don't really, you don't have to think about how to do it because you've done it so many times. So you're not really you're not trying hard to aim it at the target or anything. So there is no desire, I guess. Although it sounds weird, but there is a love in archery, and you love to shoot the arrows, but there's no desire from the mind in how I'm going to shoot them. Another word is I'm not looking forward to anything because the mind is the only part in you that is looking forward to something. And of course, the mind will interpret that as, if I'm not looking forward to anything, then it sounds pretty miserable because it doesn't understand. And you see all these monks meditating and you're wondering what they're doing and they're wasting time. And definitely a lot of monks, they actually do meditation for a purpose without realizing. And then after many, many years, they realize, that it was wrong the way they were doing it. But you got to start somehow, of course. So this whole idea of going to a monastery and separating, getting away from society. Even for them, if you think about it, the desire to be quiet and meditate, that's also a desire. Yes. So there's a trick as well, where you may fall into this desire that you want to meditate for the rest of your life, or you want to go into some kind of weekend meditation retreat. You're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to do it for a reason. So in my case, if I want to be quiet, it's just to be quiet. I'm not trying to reach another level of myself, or because some students ask, what is the real purpose of being silent for 5 years? If I go for 5 years and don't speak, there's really no answer for that question. It's something that you just move, just like the sunflower moves to the sun. It just feels like it's something that happens to me rather than I'm doing it. Something that is happening to me. All right, I think you have a couple of minutes. All right, any questions on anything regarding from the 8 weeks that we talked about? This will be the last one because next week I won't have internet. So we will have a break, but you got a few minutes. You can ask a few questions if you want. I think Carol is going to say something. I can hear you, but it's probably on your side. You have to unmute the bottom on your left.
My question is, do the monks in monastery have their own mantra, or do they have a common one that they all use?
No, it depends on the teacher and the schools, because all the monasteries are run, or many of them are run with a kind of a system. So it becomes a school. So you need to follow this and you have to follow that. So there's a lot of procedures. So of course that's how, like the army kind of a thing. So you have to go and do what you're told. There's a way of trying to teach mindfulness to the masses, of monks and stuff. So that's probably the only way they can do it. But of course, you don't have to do that. My Zen teacher told me, you don't have to do it like that. Don't go over there and do it like that and follow like sheep everybody else. You can find your own way.
Thank you.
So Bruno, the monks who don't speak, you're talking about opting out or avoiding the chaos of life. So what the monks are doing, what is that then? That's their discipline. They're not talking. They're not. I know they are involved in the world in a way, but they don't speak. So what is that about?
Yeah, I mean they are monks, so they're not the masters or anything. So they're still trying to reach some level of deep meditation or mindfulness, enlightenment or self-realization.
Mm.
So they go through that. Yeah. So, but it doesn't mean you have to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, because I did some retreats, but that wasn't the reason why, I've changed and I've seen what I've seen and my ego dropped. It wasn't because I sat down in lotus posture like Buddha, or because I was silent, or because I was vegetarian. Nothing to do with what you're doing externally, so it doesn't matter. The question is to look at the motive of what you're doing and why are you doing it. So if I tell you to stand like this in Zhang meditation for 5-10 minutes, you should challenge it and just really ask yourself, why am I really doing this? Do I really want to do it? And then do it and find out and just